Good afternoon, Rebels. Hope you are okay during our sort of continued lockdown period. I wanted to jump on today a little bit kind of impromptu, so not sort of too well scripted to think about coronavirus and in the area of coronavirus being an invitation to unlocking you. And by that I mean what you might want to do next with your new normal of your life and your career. And I've been listening to a podcast recently by Brené Brown, who I find very inspiring, and she was talking about with coronavirus at the moment, the anxiety we feel with that is very contagious. We can pass it, to and from, each other, whether it's our family, whether it's friends. That kind of really unusual situation where we don't know how to do this. We don't know how to be. We don't know what to do. It's kind of a new normal. But we can try to give it some perspective in that it's not going to always be forever, but as part of this, we can create a new normal for ourselves. And within that context is thinking, we're not alone. Others are feeling very similar emotions to us, whatever that might be: anger, frustration, shame, guilt, self-doubt, sadness. And it's helpful just to reality check kind of our expectations at the moment and where we want to head in the future. And my coach recently was talking about having a daily purpose, which you may already have, but you might realize that you don't have, in terms of we've crafted out that new routine, a new way of working at home, how to juggle that if we've got children with homeschooling, maybe looking after, family and parents kind of remotely. So we have kind of carved out a sort of new routine for ourselves, a kind of a daily purpose. But I think what it also gives us time to do is to also reflect, unlock ourselves as well, to think, as we move through this time and things will change, how do we want things to be differently in the future? How can kind of we take this opportunity that coronavirus is giving us, time for space, time for reflection, to kind of unlock ourselves? And it got me thinking, and maybe some questions that would be helpful for you to journal, which is, who are we? Who are you? What do you want? How do you want to feel? How are you going to get what you want in life and work in the future? And ultimately, it is about choice, and it's about taking responsibility for our actions. It's not sort of almost a practical list of what we need to do and boxes that we need to tick. There's kind of no right or wrong with that. And whilst we're thinking about that, is to also notice and be curious that, we all feel in a vulnerable space at the moment. But actually what comes with that vulnerability is not a negative, but really the foundation for courage and bravery, to do something different with our lives in the future. So I guess what I'm saying is, as we sit with that kind of uncertainty and discomfort, how can we use those emotions kind of effectively to pass through them and to kind of think about the future? It can almost be a sort of a sense of empowerment where we're looking inward for that inner coach. And if you like, we're befriending, we're switching off that kind of inner critic and beginning to take some time to visualize in terms of how we want things to be different. I'm talking about life, I'm talking about career, I'm talking about life in corporate world, so we can regain some clarity and we can regain some direction for ourselves. So I hope that kind of makes sense, to think about where we are now and how coronavirus, how tricky it is with the different emotions we experience, how it can serve as an invitation to unlock ourselves as well. So there were just some few thoughts I wanted to share around that, in things that you can do to kind of journal and reflect on, to support with that. Well, who am I? What do I want? How do I want to feel? And I posted probably a couple of weeks ago now something called the Wheel of Life. And I'll kind of post it again as part of this this video. And it kind of looks at different aspects of your life, and you can choose to what you want those aspects to be in terms of that work-life balance, or you can use what it's got on the one that I'm going to share with you. And it's to kind of start to rate how you feel in those different aspects of your life, from a kind of almost a rating scale of, between 1 and 10. And it helps to kind of shine a light on where you felt you were with those things, where you feel you are with those things at the moment, being, part of this coronavirus sort of lockdown. And actually, as we shift through that over the coming months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, what you want that score, if you like, for each of those individual elements to like for you in the future. And to consider then, well, what small steps, what changes can I make, first, to almost sort of start the wheels in motion, to make that happen. So kind of identify what those important aspects of your life are. And then as we move on, we can start to prioritize what things we're going to focus on and we're going to take forward. The other kind of aspect or question that I like to use in my coaching work is a follow-on to this, is how do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? And then in conjunction with looking at the areas that you've come up with, is how do you need to be? What do you need to do? What do you need to have in those aspects of your life for those rankings to increase in those areas? And then once you can prioritize what they are, sort of take 3 of them after some reflection time. Think about what you need to be, what you need to do, what you need to have in order to make improvements, to develop, if you like, these aspects of your life. And then sort of take 3 of them and say, which ones am I going to prioritize first? That you feel you can make some small but kind of immediate steps, to your life and to that work-life balance. The follow-on to that is the kind of the why, if you like, the kind of 5 whys. And when you've got the priority area, and I'm thinking in the context of, it might be your professional life, it might be your corporate life now, the career as an example, is to say, if I wanted to change one thing in my role in my career, as we kind of we've gradually moved through the peak, we gradually move out of this sort of lockdown period, is to looking, the why. If I wanted to change one thing in my role and career, what's the why behind that? And see if you can sort of ask the why question 5 times to get to almost the bedrock of the key kind of reason why you want things to change, and it kind of sheds a light on what you want that change to be. And as kind of you move through that, you can start to, if you like, change that into a more longer term purpose for you in your career, for example. The same as we have, or we are creating this daily purpose as part of our, daily, weekly routine at the moment. And see if you can kind of, through kind of journaling, which is very powerful, create a kind of goal, small goals, for yourself. Because I think when things shift for us and we have, albeit kind of very busy and probably all-consuming and overwhelming lives during lockdown, whatever our kind of focus is, and acknowledging that feeling of overwhelm and those feelings, I'm sure probably at the same time there's lots of kind of thoughts buzzing around in your head to say, when things start to return to normal and I kind of acknowledge that you're probably working from home now. How do I want things to be? What do I want to do? How do I want to feel? How do I want to behave? And choosing to kind of take steps now to make that different. It's kind of, we've had the chance to step out of what we've been tied up in, what we've been busy and familiar with. And maybe you want that to shift for you in the future now with your corporate life. So some ways to do that, some ways to reflect on that, to say, actually, how can this time and space now with coronavirus really help us to unlock ourselves and what we'd like for ourselves in the future. A little bit off the cuff day, but really sort of delivered with kind of, I hope, with some kind of meaning and kind of reflection. I know whilst I'm no longer in corporate world, and I'm now in the role of coach, and I'm also a therapist, it's given me time to reflect too. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for listening, and I will be back next week. Bye for now.